friends, my name's Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming at you with a spring book haul. I have about 50 books. I have one pile on my bed, one pile on my desk, and two more piles on the floor over there. Yeah, I have 50 books to haul because I haven't done a book haul since my birthday, and my birthday was back in October, so it's been over 5 months that I haven't hauled any books, and honestly I'm probably missing a couple that I don't remember whether or not I've hauled, so yeah, bear with me. So yeah, I've gotten a pretty good amount of books recently. Some have been sent to me, I've bought a couple, some have been gifted to me. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. I don't know like plots for a couple of these. I have read some of these already. So yeah, let's just get started because I know it's gonna be long. Like I said, I have 50 books to haul, so yeah. You're gonna see all my eras here. I have a book of the month. Like I have a whole bunch of book of the month. I have a whole bunch of nonfiction because I have a little nonfiction era going on in 2023. So let's get started. Alright, so like I just mentioned, I have a little bit of a nonfiction era going on, so I'm gonna go really quickly through these titles so I don't really bore too many people, because I know here on BookTube not a lot of people read nonfiction. So yeah, first off, I have a really like jarring title, so I'm really sorry if this triggers anyone, but that is How Not to Kill Yourself, A Portrait of the Suicidal Mind by Clancy Martin. This was sent to me by Penguin Random House. I have not read this yet, and this was not on my radar, but I just thought it seems like a pretty interesting title, and I read a little bit of the inside, and obviously I think the title pretty much sums up what this book is about. So yeah, I don't know when I'll read this. I don't think I'm in the best mindset for a book like this right now, but it's just one that I have around. It is pretty chunky, so I don't know when I'll get to this, if I do. But yeah, that's the first book. And then I have, let me do these two that I've read. So I have Attached. So if anyone's interested in like the adult attachment styles and learning more about them, this book is really interesting. So everyone has an attachment styles when it comes to relationships, whether it's romantic relationships or even with your parents. So there is anxious, avoidant, and secure attachment styles. I learned what mine is, what my boyfriend's attachment style is, and I learned so much in this book. I really hope that you guys can't hear my fan, because I'm gonna be really mad if this video is like, if the fan is really loud and you guys can't hear me. So yeah. Next up, I have Insecure in Love, and this one, it's specifically about one of the attachment styles, which is anxious attachment, which it's my attachment style. I'm just gonna be honest here. This is my attachment style, and this is a book that digs deeper into anxious attachment. I found it really helpful for me and for my boyfriend as well. I've highlighted a lot. Oh my gosh, I've highlighted a lot in these books. So yeah, these were really helpful. The rest of these nonfiction I have not read. These were all recommended by my therapist also, so you know, they're legit good nonfiction books. So the next one I have is Stop Overthinking, 23 Techniques to Relieve Stress, Stop Negative Spirals, Declutter Your Mind, and Focus on the Present. I feel like these nonfiction titles like just pretty much explain what the book's about. So basically overthinking and coping mechanisms for it, that's what this one's about, and this one's by Nick Trenton. Next up, I have one that I feel like is going to be super helpful for me, and that is How to Be Yourself, Quiet Your Inner Critic, and Rise Above Social Anxiety. I have major social anxiety, so I feel like this book is really going to help me out in that department. I feel like I can't ever really show my personality in like social settings, so I'm really hoping that this one's a good book and I find some ways to cope with that and rise above my social anxiety. And I think the last nonfiction that I have, I'm looking at my piles, the last nonfiction that I have is called Body Kindness, Transform Your Health from the Inside Out and Never say diet again. I've been through like body health journey for a long time. I'm probably like the smallest that I've been my whole life, and I'm actually the size, like my goal weight size right now, and I still don't feel like I look how I wanted to. So I feel like this book is really going to help me out in that department. And yeah, your body weight, like whatever it says on the scale, it's literally just a number. So I'm hoping that this book really helps me with that point of view, because some days it's harder than others. So yeah, Body Kindness by Rebecca Stritchfield. Alright, next up I have two books by Latino authors, and these two were book club picks for my IRL book club. Our last book club pick was How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. She is the author of Dominicana, and this book follows this woman. I've already read this. I gave this a 4 out of 5. This book follows a woman. Her name is Cara Romero, and this is during the Great Recession. So basically she is laid off from her job at a factory, and this whole book is told in like interviews. And Cara, she's like, I think in her mid 50s, and she's basically looking for a job, and the interviews are with this like caseworker, and they're really interesting. And Cara pretty much tells like the story of her life and how she got where she is. She has a really estranged relationship with her son. I found it really interesting, beautiful, funny, and I really love this one. So yeah, How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. And now the current book club picks is Gordo by Jaime Cortez. Yeah, this is a memoir. And I'll read the inside here a little bit. It says, in a migrant workers camp near California during the 1970s, a young boy named Gordo fights back tears underneath a wrestler's mask as he's forced to fight other boys and grow into his father's expectations of manhood. As he comes of age, Gordo learns about sex, poverty, and the wrenching divides between documented and undocumented immigrants. This sounds super interesting. Like I said, obviously it's a memoir. It's said to be really funny. Obviously it is queer. And yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that it is an enchanting memoir, and I'm really excited to discuss this in person at my IRL book club. Oh my god, these stacks of books everywhere. Alright, so next up, I don't really have a theme. They're just very random books. I'm gonna start with this one, and I have The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. I have actually read this at this point in time. This is a historical fiction novel, and this is set in Florence, Italy, 1550s, and this follows a young girl. Her name is Lucrezia, and basically her sister passes away. Back in these days, like, someone got sick and instantly they died. So her sister dies, and this is like based on like a real story. But anyway, our main character's sister passes away, and she was supposed to get married to this man, and basically because she dies, then our main character Lucrezia, who is like 15 or 16 years old at this time, is supposed to marry this man. And basically from the beginning you see that basically like all of these people at this like court are like after her, like honestly trying to kill her, and like they play mind games, and it's really manipulative. So it was crazy. It's a very like slow burn, quiet novel, if that makes any sense, but I enjoyed it. I did give this a 4 out of 5 stars, and it was a nice historical fiction. If you want something set in Italy in the 1500s, this did the job. Next up, I have two fantasy novels that I haven't read either of them. The first one is The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. I don't know too much about it. I did start reading this, like 2 chapters, but I'm not really in the mood right now for fantasy, so I didn't continue it. But basically it follows this girl. Her name is Lore, and basically she has magic, and somehow she's captured by like the prince of this fantasy world, and basically he's keeping her captive to use her magic for his gain. It sounds interesting. From when I started, it seemed more of like an urban fantasy book. It reminded me a lot of like Six Crows vibes a little bit, which I didn't love Six of Crows, so maybe that's why I was like, oh, maybe not right now for this book. But it does sound really interesting, and this cover is gorgeous. Next up, I have Belladonna by Adeline Grace, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what this book's about. I do know that this is like a fantasy book. It reminds me of like Wilder Girls, or what was that other book, Hollow? House of Hollow or something like that, just because of the cover. I'm assuming it follows a young girl and it looks creepy, but I honestly don't know what this book's about. But the book, like the inside of the book, is really pretty. It says, it's said that 5 belladonna berries are all it takes to kill someone. Interesting. Alrighty, next up I have an arc, and that is Suddenly a Murder by Lauren Munoz. This was sent to me by Penguin Teen. I'm like, was it sent to me by Penguin Teen? Yes, it was sent to me by Penguin Teen, and this is a young adult mystery novel, and it's basically like a murder mystery dinner type of party, and obviously someone ends up dead at this murder mystery party. In the front it says, "One of us in the manor with the knife." I think the main character, yes, the main character is in high school, and her name is Izzy Morales, so I think she's Latina. I at least know that the author of this book is Latino or Latina, Lauren. I am chaotic today. Anyway, in the back of this it says, "One of us is lying meets Knives Out in this killer locked room mystery." Next up I have an oldie but a goodie, and that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I found this book for like $5 when I was in Louisville, and I was like, I don't own this book, and I love this series, so I'm gonna buy it. I am planning on reading this soon for a special readathon that's coming your way soon. It should be announced in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, yes, Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a Cinderella retelling, sci-fi, set in the New Beijing setting. This series follows like Cinderella retelling, then Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and then finally Snow White. I love this series, and yeah, and I love Marissa Meyer, and I had to buy it because I know there's new covers, but I don't love those as much, and these are the OGs that I read in high school, and I had to buy it. Next up I have a graphic novel that this was literally my last read, and that is Coven by Jennifer Dugan and Kit Seaton. I really enjoyed this. This is witchy, it is queer, and I really loved it. It does have to do with pyromancy, so our main character has like fire powers, and basically I think she lived in like California, and then out of nowhere her parents are like, we're moving to like this small town, so she moves, and she meets her coven. She wasn't ever really too in tune with her powers, so now when she moves to this small town and she meets her coven and everything, she starts training, and there's some weird things going on. Like I said, it is queer. Our main character is queer, and there's also other queer characters, so I truly really like this one. It was a lot of fun, so I definitely recommend it. On to the next pile. Here we go. Alrighty, next up I have a Silvia Moreno Garcia, and that is The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno. I don't know what this book's about. I just saw Silvia Moreno's name on the cover, so I had to buy it, but honestly I have no clue, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. I don't feel like reading the back of this right now. I have too many books to go through. Alright, so the next book that I have, it's another author that I really enjoyed, and that is Such Sharp Teeth, oh my god, by Rachel Harrison. She wrote Cackle, which was a witchy book, and it was such a pleasant surprise for me. I didn't really think that I was gonna love Cackle, but I honestly, it's like one of my favorite books from last year. Like I said, it was witchy. I loved the vibes of the book. It was feminist, it was funny. I truly loved it. I really hope that this book is similar to that. And like I said, Cackle was witchy, and this one has to do with werewolves, so I'm so excited for it. I don't know much about the plot specifically, but I'm really hoping that this is like dark, twisty, funny, similar to Cackle. But yeah, I have high hopes for this one. Next up, I have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I've read a couple other books by Lucy Foley, one of them being The Guest List. So this is a mystery thriller, and usually Lucy Foley's books have like a big cast of characters. So this one is set in the Scottish wilderness, and it is a remote setting. Similar to The Guest List, it's also a remote setting at a wedding. And this one as well has a big cast of characters, and one of them obviously dies in the wilderness, and I'm super excited. I think I'm gonna leave this book for September, because I'll be visiting Scotland in September, so I think I want to read this book down there. So yeah. Alright, next up I have What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I have to look inside because I have so many books that I confuse the synopses for some of these. So this one, the main character, her name is Nahomy, like mine, but spelled differently. And this one follows Nahomy and her two best friends, Cassidy and Olivia, and usually they go into the woods and they play like this game where they're like goddesses and stuff. And one day a man comes into the woods and attacks Nahomy, and she survives this attack, and basically they help put this man away. And it says here on the cover, it says the girl's testimonies put away a serial killer wanted for murdering 6 women. They were heroes and they were liars. So there is a secret in there for what happened. There is like a time jump, like 22 years. So I'm excited. I usually tend to love books like that have a huge time jump with something creepy that happened in the past. So I'm excited to read this one. Next up, I have a romance, and that is Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. I don't know too much about this one. The only thing I know is that the main character is a screenwriter, and I've been recommended this book because I love Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan, and I also love The Bodyguard, so I've been recommended this romance. People have told me that if I like those romances that I will love this one as well. So I don't know much about the plot, but just besides the fact that the main character is a screenwriter, I'm excited to read it, and hopefully this is another romance favorite. The next one my boyfriend got me, and I have no clue what this book is, but it's called The Birding Girls by CJ Tudor. I think I've read The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor, but I could totally be confusing it for another book, which is called The Whisper Man, and I don't know which one I've read. But yeah, this one seems like culty-ish, so it seems interesting, but my boyfriend bought it for me and I honestly had never heard of it, so yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Alrighty, next up I have The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I actually just read this during Flowerathon, and that vlog is up on my channel. This is an amazing Carrie by Stephen King retelling. I truly love this one. I'm just gonna say that it's a Carrie retelling, and that's that, and just go pick it up. It has a podcast element, so it was really interesting. They kind of dissect this crime that happened in the podcast, and it was really interesting. I loved it. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really liked it, and I also just really love Tiffany D. Jackson's writing. So yeah, go pick it up. Alright, next up I have a couple of Book of the Month books. I'm sure that I'm missing a couple, but it's fine. So the first one I have is The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. This was the mystery thriller pick for November 2022. This has to do with a party, and someone dies at midnight and they're all suspects. That's all I know. Yes. Next up I have Lunar Love by Lauren Kong Jessen. This was the pick for January of 2023. This is romance. I picked this up because I wanted to read it during Valentine's. Did not happen. I haven't read this yet, but I know this has to do with like dating apps, and basically our main character, she has a nemesis who is the other competitor for like a dating app, and I'm assuming they're falling in love. It's like a friends to lovers novel, and yeah, it seems interesting, but I haven't heard amazing reviews, so yeah. Okay, next up I have Really Good Actually by Monica Heisey. This book follows what is her name? Maggie. And Maggie is going through a divorce and it's rough. I actually started reading this book during Valentine's weekend, and I was like, this is too depressing for me right now, so I've had to put it down. But it was really funny. It's like very dark humor, so I was enjoying it, but not at the time because it was Valentine's and I just wanted to read something like super romantic and cheesy, and this is very different. Like, obviously it's about a divorce. She's kind of very dark humor-y. So yeah, I mean, I will be reading this book, but it was very different from what I was looking for at the time. So yeah, this is really good actually. The last book of the month book that I have here with me today is Georgie All Along by Kate Claiborne. I have heard incredible things about this book. A couple of my friends have read it and they say it is an amazing novel. They love the main character, Georgie, obviously. And it seems to be like a really finding yourself type of story. I feel like I'm really going to relate to the main character, Georgie. So I'm excited to read it sometime soon. This is definitely on like my ASAP TBR. Alrighty, so I'm on to my last 2 stacks of books. So next up I have Crying in H Mart, which is a memoir by Michelle Sonner. I've heard this book is really good. This was actually very kindly sent to me by Penguin Random House, and I was so surprised. I had no idea they were sending it to me, and they sent it to me with these Crying in H Mart chopsticks. They have like tears and it says Crying in H Mart down here, and then they also sent it with some Crying in H Mart tissues. So I will definitely be using both of these, and this was such a cute like little PR package. I'm imagining it's because the paperback came out recently. I'm not sure, but I was so grateful that they sent this my way because I've been eyeing this book for a long time. And yeah, I'm really excited about this memoir. I don't know much about like the Michelle Sonner or like what this book's about in general, so like the memoir, her story, I don't know much about it. Yeah, I'm excited. I've heard amazing things, so yeah, thank you Penguin Random House for this really cute PR package. Next up, I actually have a couple more book of the month books that I forgot about. So I have The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. I'm so excited to read this one. This is another like ASAP book that I need to read. I was supposed to meet Sally Hepworth last week, but unfortunately she got food poisoning, so I wasn't able to meet her. But yeah, I'm still really excited to read this one. Basically, this one is about a married couple that lives on this like house on a cliff, and basically this cliff is pretty famous for like people go there to commit suicide, and basically this couple is kind of knows this, and basically the husband tends to go on that cliff and like talk people off of it. And I think that maybe like the wife like sees somebody and then they go and then there wasn't anyone there, so they think she's crazy. I think it's something along those lines, but I'm not too sure. I tend to not really want to read like synopses for these type of books because I feel like if you know too much, like you know what everything that happens in mystery thrillers. So I prefer to go in a little blind into these books. So yeah. Alrighty, next up I have Ana Maria and the Fogs, and I'm really excited. This is by Latina author. Her name is Liana de la Rosa. This one is like Bridgerton but Mexican. And on the inside here it says, a forbidden love between a Mexican heiress and a shrewd British politician makes for a tantalizing Victorian season. So I think it is during like the season where all the girls are supposed to get married and all of that. It is, I think it's set in Mexico. No, the girls are sent to London for this season, so that'll be exciting. This may be another one that I keep for London, because I am traveling to London, so I want to read books that are set in like London and Scotland when I'm down there. So yeah, this seems really exciting and very like soap opera-ish, so I'm excited for this one. Next up, I have a book that I've heard good things about. I don't know what it is exactly. I think it is a mystery thriller or literary fiction, I guess. I don't know. But this is I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackey. Like I said, I don't know much about it, so I'm sorry. I'm not gonna read it and try to explain. Next up, I have an ARC, and that is Thin Air by Kelly M. Parker. This was sent to me by, it is Penguin Teen. This is a young adult novel. It says here on the back, it says a flight to Paris full of teenagers seeking to win a scholarship turns deadly in this suspenseful locked door YA thriller. Exciting! I'm stoked for this one actually. And next up I have a book sent to me by Get Underlined, and that is In Nightfall by Susan Young. I'm excited for this one. This is definitely young adult. It seems really spooky, creepy. I don't know anything per usual. There is a blurb back here that says breathes life into the vampire genre, so it's vampires, young adult. I love this cover, by the way. It looks really cool. Oh my god, I have like 12 more books. I'm so tired of talking. Alright, next up I have a short story collection, which is Eternally Yours by Patrice Caldwell. And this short story collection is 15 stories of paranormal love. It's really cute. It has like vampires, it has like Bloody Mary, it has ghouls. Like, it's really cute. I liked it a lot, and like I said, it's romance. I gave this a 4 out of 5, and yeah, I really enjoy this. Next up I have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This one is a romance, and it basically follows this girl who is a bodyguard, and basically she's supposed to be watching like this actor celebrity guy, and basically his family gets very nervous because usually he has a lot of stalkers and stuff. So basically she pretends to be his girlfriend in order for them to not be like worried that he has a bodyguard. Like, why does he have a bodyguard? Like, are you in danger and all that stuff? So basically she pretends to be his girlfriend, and yeah, it's really cute. I really enjoyed it. It has a lot of like mental health conversations in here, and yeah, I really liked it. And it seems like someone, oh yeah, Jess gifted me this book, I forgot. Alrighty, next up I have historical fiction that I don't know much about, but it just seemed really interesting. I'd heard a lot of people raving about this book, and that is The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. I was thinking this was the title, but I think this is the author's name, and then this is the title, The Lincoln Highway. I have seen the Gentleman of Moscow book around. Obviously I've never read it, but this is a historical fiction. She's very chunky. This is set in 1954, and this is a stylish and propulsive novel set in 1950s America. Next up I have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. I've actually read this book. This was one of my favorite books of last year. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it, and basically this is about a woman in STEM. This book is set in the 1960s, so it wasn't really like, it was kind of frowned upon for women to be in STEM. And basically it's this woman who is a chemist. She is given this show called Supper at 6, and basically she teaches women how to cook, but she makes it very sciencey for them. So she teaches them how to bake and all this stuff, but she makes it super sciencey and like chemistry, and yeah, basically teaches them chemistry and science through this like cooking show. It does have to do with grief. It is a very beautiful novel, and I really loved it. And the main character is a really strong woman, and I really enjoyed this one. Next up I have an ARC. This comes out in April, so it's already out. And that is Viva Lola Espinosa by Ella Ceron. And this is a romance book. This is set in Mexico City in the summer. I think this has a love triangle in it. On the back here it says, over the course of one unforgettable summer filled with food, family, and 2 very different boys, Lola finds herself learning about love, belonging, and the magic around us all. I think this is kind of magical realism is what I saw on Goodreads, so I'm excited about it. I thought it was just like a regular old romance. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one, and obviously it is by a Latina author, so I'm even more excited. Next up I have a couple books that I've actually already read. Very nice. First up I have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This is a mystery thriller set in like a mansion, and basically this really famous female writer is hosting like a retreat for women, and basically when they get there, she's challenging them to write a book start to finish in this course of like 6 weeks, I believe, and basically she's offering them like a 6-figure deal and all of this stuff. But basically it is set in this like mansion that it is remote and they don't have access to phones or the internet or anything like that, and then things start to get really weird. Next up, I have The Measure by Nikki Erlich. This is a dystopian literary fiction more novel. It is very light dystopian, and it's basically about this world that one day everyone wakes up and at their doorstep there is a box and it has a string in it, and basically the size of your string means how long you're gonna live. So if you have a really short string, it means that you have a couple years left to live. If you have a really long string, it means that you're gonna live for a long time. So basically it's like that question of whether or not you would look in the box and look at the string. So basically, there's people that don't want to look, there's people that do look, and it becomes involved with like politics and all of this stuff. I found it super fascinating. It has a big cast of characters and they all connect, and I really like this one. I did give this a 5 out of 5, so yeah. Next up, I have City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. I just bought this in Louisville. I found this for like $5. And this one is pretty much like Evelyn Hugo, but this is set in New York, and instead of like Hollywood, this is set in like the theater scene. And honestly, basically, like if you love Evelyn Hugo, read this book. It's like really similar in ways, like in the vibes of Evelyn Hugo. But yeah, I really love this one. Like I said, 1940s New York theater world. It's super cool, and I love this one. And another oldie but a goodie, I have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is the deluxe edition that actually Liv from Liv's Library sent over my way. She was unhauling it and she wondered if I wanted it, so she sent it my way. So thank you, Liv. She sent me this quite a while ago and I still hadn't hauled it. So yeah, thank you, Liv, for this one. And I'm sure you guys have heard of We Were Liars on here before, but if you haven't, basically this family, the St. Clairs, are a very rich family that vacation on this like private island that they own every summer. And basically one summer something really bad happened and our main character Cadence can't remember what happened. She gets these horrible migraines, and then like a couple summers after, she returns to the island because she wants to know like what happened that summer. It is very mysterious. This is set in like an island off of like Martha's Vineyard. I like actually did a whole trip to go to Martha's Vineyard because of this book, because I love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorites, and yeah, you should totally read it. This is my most reread book. Next up, I have the last book I read, well, the last novel I read, which was Anatomy by Dana Schwartz. And I kind of pitched this as kind of like Stalking Jack the Ripper. If you read that by Carrie Maniscalco. Basically, it is about this girl that wants to be like a surgeon, but this is like back in the day. This is like 1800s. It doesn't say it on the inside here, the year that this is set on, but it's like 1800s, like London. This is very gothic, mysterious. There is a romance. It didn't hit for me as much, but I feel like it just, London, like really dark, like Jack the Ripper vibes, it just doesn't hit for me as much in books. But if you did like Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, I would recommend this one. But yeah, Anatomy by Dana Schwartz, and I'm probably going to be giving this to my friend Jess because she read this book and loved it, so I'm probably giving this to her. And next up, I have a pile of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books that were sent to me, and I have no clue, have never seen these books in my life, but I just wanted to show them on here. Okay, so this is a division of Penguin Random House, which is like Alfred Nope. I forget, I don't know how to say that, but if you can see that down there, right there, it is Alfred Nope, I believe, and it is an imprint of Penguin Random House. So ultimately Penguin Random House sent these my way. But the first one I have is Games and Rituals by Catherine Henney. It's a cute cover with like 2 brushes. I don't know what this one's about. So this says on the inside, the author of early morning riser brings us 11 glittering stories of love, friendships formed at an airport bar, ex-husbands with benefits, mothers of suspiciously sweet teenagers, ill-advised thrists in all its forms, both ridiculous and sublime. So this is a short story collection. That's really cool. Next up, I have a thriller which is called Breathless by Amy McCullough. Basically, this book follows journalist Cecily Wong, and basically she has given up everything to go climb this mountain to interview this famous hiker, mountaineer. His name's Charles McVie. And basically she's going on this like expedition with other people. They're obviously helping her. She's not like a hiker, she's a journalist. So basically they're on this expedition, and basically one of the other climbers dies, and then slowly more people that are on this expedition start dying, and basically it's too late to turn back. So she has to go on this journey on her lonesome, I'm assuming, to see this climber, mountaineer person that she has to interview. So it sounds very creepy. It is like an edge of your seat type of thriller, and I'm excited to read it. Next up, I have The Society of Shame by Lane Roper. And on the inside here it says, a timely and witty combination of So You've Been Publicly Shamed and Where'd You Go Bernadette, that's both an astute satire of social media stardom, an internet activism, and a tender mother-daughter tale. I actually really like mother-daughter stories, so I may be looking more into this one and seeing if I enjoy it. Next up, I have a book. I've heard of this author who is Esmeralda Santiago, and the book is called Las Madres. And Esmeralda Santiago wrote When I Was Puerto Rican, which I've heard tons about, obviously, because I'm Puerto Rican. But this one is, like I said, it's called Las Madres, and on the back here it says, from the award-winning best-selling author of When I Was Puerto Rican, a powerful novel of family, race, faith, sex, and disaster that moves between Puerto Rico and the Bronx, revealing the lives and loves of 5 women and the secret that binds them together. This sounds really exciting. I'm excited to read this. I know Esmeralda Santiago is from San Juan, Puerto Rico, so I'm excited to read this and really relate to this women in this book. I'm excited. Next up, I have another book that is kind of like a backlist. I'm not too sure why these books were sent to me, but I have The Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I know this book has been out for a while, and I literally just got this sent my way like a week ago, so I don't know why it's being like promoted right now, because I think like the paperback has been out for a while. But yeah, The Sea of Tranquility, I'm sure that you guys have heard of Emily St. John Mandel. She wrote Station 11, which was like a dystopian kind of COVID-ish book. I don't know much about this one, honestly, but yeah. Thank you, Penguin Random House. I have Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma by Claire Dearer. Whoa. This cover is freaking weird. I'm gonna read the inside of this. It says, what do we do with the art of monstrous men? Whoa. From the author of the New York Times bestseller Poser and the acclaimed memoir Love and Trouble, a passionate, provocative, blisteringly smart interrogation of how we make and experience art in the age of #MeToo, and of the link between genius and monstrosity. This is super interesting now that I'm reading the inside of this. Like, that is something that I've always really struggled with and questioned, of like the art versus the artist. And whenever we find out things like, for example, like Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, like, should we separate like the art with the artist? Should we be supporting that? Like, in what ways? It seems like this is going to go more towards like the sexual assault route, and not like J.K. Rowling, which that's a separate issue. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this and learn more about this. It seems like she did a lot of really cool research for this book, so yeah, I'm excited. Hey friends, so it is the day after I filmed that book haul, and I got the biggest package from Penguin Random House. They sent me like 6 books, so I was like, I have to add these to the book haul. So now I have 56 books on this haul. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly go through them. They're all YA titles. I don't know, like, I remember signing up for some form on Penguin Teen, but I didn't know that these were going to be sent to me for sure. So I've heard of some of these, not all of them, so bear with me. But yeah, I have 6 more books with me, so let's do it. So the first book that I have is The Agathas by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. I for sure have heard of Kathleen Glasgow's name before. I have not read anything by her, but I've heard of her name. And on the blurb in the front here, it says part Agatha Christie, part Veronica Mars, which sounds super interesting. The cover definitely reminds me of Finley Donovan is Killing It for sure. And yeah, let me read the back here for y'all. So it says, last summer, Alice Ogilvie's basketball star boyfriend Steve dumped her and ended up with her ex-best friend Brooke Donovan. Now Brooke Donovan is dead and the whole town of Castle Cove thinks they know who did it, Steve. But Alice isn't so sure. Enter Iris Adams, Alice's tutor. All Iris wants is to get out of Castle Cove, and the hefty reward Brooke's grandmother is offering to anyone who can find Brooke's killer is exactly what she needs to make it happen. Alice has a theory, but she can't prove it alone. She needs Iris and her level-headed intelligence, and with the complete works of Agatha Christie, the master of mysteries herself, they might be able to find Brooke justice if they can stay alive themselves. That was kind of a confusing synopsis, I'm not gonna lie, but this does sound really interesting. All right, next up I have a book that I've actually read before, but this is the graphic novel for it, and it is Every Day by David Levithan. And this was illustrated by Dion MBD. I have read the original novel by David Levithan, and it's pretty much like it follows like this soul, and every day this soul travels through different bodies, and basically like the soul falls in love with this girl, and the soul has to explain to this girl that they travel through bodies. So like basically this girl is falling in love with this soul. I think it's like a really nice message actually. I can't wait to read it as a graphic novel. I think it's gonna be really fun being able to actually see the different people and what they look like, because obviously in the novel they're explained, but I think seeing them is gonna be even better. So I'm excited to read this. Next up I have The Isles of the Gods by Amy Kaufman. Amy Kaufman is pretty much known for writing fantasy and sci-fi in the YA genre. I have not heard of this novel, but I'm excited. So in the inside here it says, Sally has salt water in her veins, so when her father leaves her high and dry in the port of Kirkpool, she has no intention of riding out the winter at home, while he sails out for an adventure. But any plans to follow him are dashed when a handsome stranger with telltale magician's marks on his arms commandeers her ship. He is Prince Leander of Eleanor, and he needs to cross the Crescent Sea without detection so he can complete a ritual on the sacred Isles of the Gods. That is high fantasy. Yeah, at the bottom here it says, magic, romance, and slumbering gods clash in the start of this riveting fantasy series spanning gangsters' dens, forgotten temples, and the high seas. Interesting. This looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited for like the world building and also like the ship. Like this ship on the cover is so pretty. I feel like I haven't really read much like this, so I'm excited for it. Next up I have Liar's Beach by Katie Katongo. There is a freaking blurb by Taylor Jenkins Reid on the back here, so I am putting this at the top of my TBR now. It has really good reviews from Taylor Jenkins Reid herself, so I'm excited to get to this. But in the inside here it says, will the truth come at Liar's Beach? Michael Linden, or just Linden to his preppy boarding school pals, doesn't belong in wealthy, storied Martha's Vineyard, but when his roommate Jasper invites him to spend the end of the summer at his family's massive beachfront home, August House, Linden tries his best to fit in. Linden wouldn't call it lying exactly, though it turns out on August House is full of liars. Then someone is found unconscious in Jasper's pool, and everyone has something to hide. Jasper, his beautiful twin sister, Eliza, their older brother, Wells, and their friends. The accident is written off as just that, an accident, but Lyndon begins to wonder. Enter Holiday Proctor, Lyndon's childhood friend, and the only person on the island who knows the truth about him. There's nothing Holiday loves more than a good mystery, and she is convinced there's a murder on the vineyard. The only question is who? Holy crap, this sounds super interesting, and it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite novels of all time, which is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Sounds very similar, like Martha's Vineyard, there's a murder, teenagers. This is definitely one on the top of my reading list now. I'm really excited about this one. Next up, I have two books that have been out for quite a while, but I think these are just like the paperback versions, so they've been recently promoting them. So first off, I have Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I think I've read an Elizabeth Lim book before, but I forget which one it is. But yeah, this has been out for a while, so I feel like a lot of people know about the story. I think there's the conclusion novel is coming out soon, which is why Penguin Random House is promoting these paperbacks. But yeah, on the back here it says, it will take more than magic to break this curse. Shoriyama, the only princess of Kayata, has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. On the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control of it, forestalling the wedding she never wanted, but also catching the attention of Reikama, her stepmother. As sorceress in her own right, Reikama banishes the young princess, turning her brothers into cranes, and warning Shiori that she must speak of it to no one, for with every word that escapes her lips, one of her brothers will die. God. Penniless, voiceless, and alone, Shiori searches for her brothers and uncovers a dark conspiracy to seize the throne. Only Shiori can set the kingdom to rights. But to do so, she must place her trust in a paper bird, a mercurial dragon, and the very boy she fought so hard not to marry. And she must embrace the magic she's been taught all her life to contain, no matter what it costs her. This sounds so interesting. I had no idea what this story was about, but it sounds really interesting. I've heard great things. Now I'm really excited to read it. Yeah, it sounds very fairy tale, folklore-ish, so I'm excited for this one for sure. Last but not least, I have a booktube darling book in front of me that I still haven't read, and that is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. There is a sequel coming out soon, which is called House of Roots and Ruin. So I believe that's why they're pushing this paperback novel right now, to promote the sequel for this book. I think it's going to be like a duology. I've heard that this book is super like atmospheric, dark, moody. It follows all of these sisters. So yeah, I'm gonna read the back of this, but I still haven't read this and I really want to, so yeah. In the back here it says, in a manor by the sea, 12 sisters are cursed. Anna Lee lives a sheltered life at Highmore with her sisters. Once there were 12, but loneliness fills the grand halls now that 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short, each death more tragic than the last. Disturbed by a series of ghostly visions, Anna Lee becomes increasingly suspicious that her sister's death were no accidents. The girls have been sneaking out every night to attend glittering balls, dancing until dawn in silk gowns and shimmering slippers, and Anna Lee isn't sure whether to try to stop them or to join the forbidden trysts. Because who or what are they really dancing with? When Anna Lee's involvement with a mysterious stranger who has secrets of his own intensifies, it's a race to unravel the darkness that has fallen over her family before it claims her next. This sounds so cool and dark and mysterious. I feel like this is a perfect read for fall time. Yeah, I'm really excited. It sounds very like gothic. So yeah, I'm excited for this one as well. But yes, thank you so much to Penguin Random House for sending these books my way. That was super kind of them. But yeah, now that for sure is the end of this book haul. So on to the outro now. Alright, so that was it. We did it. Those were 50 books. My camera is like blisteringly hot right now and I am tired of talking. I need some water. I'm gonna go drink this. Thank you for watching. I hope I don't do a book haul in a while again, because these are tiring. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, and that you got some book recs in here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you next time in my next video.